And a lot of these WNBA players that suffer from jealousy and envy and hate enter in Lisa Leslie because she was asked about it. And, well, her answer made a lot more sense. It did. For Caitlin Clark, well, they're not going to love this, right? Sorry, Angel. Sorry, Dejanay Carrington. And so many others that want to claim like, nah, ain't nothing to see here except when Caitlin gets her.
Lisa Leslie just dropped a truth bomb about Caitlin Clark that's sending shockwaves through the WNBA. The basketball legend is tired of the hate and finally speaking up about what everyone's been thinking, but nobody with her status has had the courage to say. While some WNBA veterans have been throwing shade at the rookie sensation, Leslie's taking a completely different approach. She's saying what we've all been seeing. Clark is bringing money, marketing, and massive viewership to a league that struggled financially for decades. And guess what? That's good for everyone in the WNBA. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
To not have the defending champs on TV more, I think is kind of crazy. Well, the fact is, it's not crazy if nobody will watch. Her neck clotheslined from hell during a game, but we're supposed to believe there's no actual animosity there. So, let's check this out right here. On ESPN's First Take, obviously people want to watch Caitlin Clark, so you have to put people on TV that people want to see. Absolutely. Now that makes sense. But
Did you hear what Lisa Leslie just said about the Caitlin Clark situation? While some WNBA veterans have been throwing serious shade at the rookie sensation, this Hall of Famer is taking a completely different approach that's got everyone talking. Lisa Leslie isn't just any former player sharing her opinion. She's a basketball icon whose voice carries serious weight in the women's basketball world. When Leslie speaks, people listen. And right now, her comments defending Caitlin Clark are spreading like wildfire across social media platforms. What makes this particularly interesting is how Leslie's stance puts her directly at odds with several vocal WNBA players who've been criticizing Clark since she entered the league. She's essentially risking relationships and potentially burning bridges to speak what she sees as the uncomfortable truth about this situation. Let's talk about what's really happening here. Lisa Leslie didn't hold back when she called out what she believes is the real issue nobody wants to address. She directly tackled the money aspect of the controversy, saying, "It's all about money marketing. We cannot deny what Caitlin Clark has done for women's basketball."
Seriously, that's why these other teams are not on more, because the ratings and the demand for them doesn't warrant that they're on more. Again, one of the reasons I made that video is because none of these players will acknowledge the elephant in the room. Why aren't people tuning into the rest of these games? Sorry, not sorry. I know facts clouds feelings. I don't think raising the level of other teams has to mean bringing Caitlin or the Indiana Fever down.
That statement alone is making waves because it cuts through all the noise and gets straight to the heart of the matter, the business side of basketball that's driving much of this tension. While critics continue claiming Clark is just overhyped media creation, Leslie has been pointing to something they can't argue with: the numbers. The viewership data tells a story that even the champion New York Liberty can't match. The ratings Clark is bringing to the table are unprecedented for the league, and Leslie isn't afraid to acknowledge that reality, even if it might ruffle some feathers among players who've been in the league longer. You know what's really powerful about Leslie's defense? She went even further by explaining how Clark's popularity actually creates a positive ripple effect throughout the entire league. As she put it, "When one player eats, we all eating, and we all get our opportunities. It just opens it up for everyone else." That perspective flips the entire narrative from a zero-sum game where Clark's success somehow takes away from others.
By the way, the Minnesota Lynx put out a situation where you're having to buy a certain amount of tickets to get to go see the Fever play. Now, well, they would probably have to remove some of those games they gave to her and give it to other teams. And for the WNBA, that would be disastrous. They don't capitalize enough on Caitlin Clark to begin with. I've seen some Caitlin Clark fans be upset about this, and at first, I did a what the F. And then I said to myself,
to a vision where her star power can lift the entire league to new heights. This isn't just empty talk or wishful thinking either. Leslie's comments come at a time when WNBA viewership is absolutely skyrocketing, with Indiana Fever games seeing massive increases compared to anything we witnessed last season. The numbers don't lie, and Leslie is simply pointing out what the data clearly shows. Clark is bringing eyeballs to the sport in unprecedented numbers. The tension between Leslie's view and critics within the league really highlights the divide in how different players perceive Clark's impact. Take Nafisa Kerr, for example, who specifically complained about Clark getting 41 televised games this season. Kerr's criticism centered around what she sees as an unfair disparity in media coverage and television exposure, suggesting there's an imbalance in how the league allocates its resources and attention. Her perspective represents one side of this division that's forming within the WNBA regarding Clark's impact. What's fascinating is watching how this debate is playing out so publicly. On one side, you have players like Kerr, who feel the league might be favoring Clark at the expense of others who've been grinding for years. On the other side stands Lisa Leslie, using her legendary status to redirect the conversation away from jealousy and toward appreciation for what Clark brings to women's basketball as a whole. Imagine being in Clark's position right now, a rookie with astronomical expectations, breaking viewership records while simultaneously navigating this complex web of veteran relationships and media scrutiny. The pressure is unreal. Yet through it all, she's maintaining focus on her game while legends like Leslie step up to defend her right to shine. The most intriguing question now isn't about what Leslie said, it's about what happens next. How will these comments affect Clark's treatment on the court this season? Will other respected veterans follow Leslie's lead and publicly support Clark? Or will the division deepen as the season progresses and Clark continues drawing unprecedented attention? Let's wrap this up, folks. What we're seeing with Lisa Leslie's defense of Caitlin Clark could be the game changer the WNBA has desperately needed. Think about it. For nearly 3 decades, the league has been fighting an uphill battle just to turn a profit. That's right, decades of financial struggle before Clark arrived on the scene. Leslie's words might finally shift the conversation from petty jealousy to collective growth. Instead of fighting over slices of a small pie, the league could focus on making the whole pie bigger. The real MVPs in all this? You, the fans who might finally see women's basketball receive the spotlight it deserves.